You know how the new moon is like this thing in astrology, right? For
Yeah.
like fresh starts and all that.
Right.
Well, it turns out it's not just, an astrology thing.
Yeah.
So many cultures all over the world, they see it as a chance to kind of hit the reset button. We're doing a deep dive today on new moon rituals, and it's really fascinating.
It is.
This guide we're looking at, it's not like some vague mystical thing. It's got actual advice, like practical stuff. I'm excited to kind of get into it with you,
Yeah, me too.
especially this whole idea of the new moon being like a blank canvas. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's like the core concept, right? It's about recognizing that this is a really powerful time. Like the new moon, it's a powerful time to set intentions, but, and this is key, the intentions have to be aligned with what you really want deep down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. So it's not just wishing for $1 million. It's figuring out why you want that $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. And the guide, it actually goes into like goal setting theory, like the real deal.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah, it emphasizes being specific, having action plans. You need the vision, but you also need the steps to get there. You know what I mean?
totally. And I love how this guy, it really gets specific with the how. Like
Yeah.
one of the rituals I was reading about, the journaling prompts, they're so good. It's not just what am I grateful for? It's like deep questions.
Yeah. Those prompts are, they're meant to make you think
Hmm.
about what might be holding you back, like
Yeah.
identifying fears,
Yeah.
understanding what really motivates you, even like examining what you need to let go of. Could be physical stuff, could be, emotional baggage.
Right. And that's where the decluttering comes in.
Right, exactly.
Which, I mean, most of us, we could probably stand to declutter something.
Oh, for sure. I know I could. The guide, it connects decluttering, like physically decluttering, to like internal change.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there's actually psychology behind it. Research has shown when people get rid of clutter, they often feel lighter, clearer.
Wow. It's like clearing space for new stuff to come in, both literally and, I guess, figuratively.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the journaling, the decluttering, but then it gets into visualization, which I've always been kind of fascinated by. What's the guide's take on that?
So visualization is a powerful tool, right? And the guide, it suggests using it specifically during the new moon.
Okay.
It's all about picturing your goals. But here's the thing, you have to picture them as if they've already happened.
Oh, wow.
Like really vividly, almost like imprinting that success on that blank canvas we were talking about.
I can see how that connects to setting intentions. But is there actual science behind why visualization works?
There's actually a growing body of research in neuroscience, sports psychology. They're showing that visualization, it can actually prime our brains for action.
No way.
Yeah,
Really?
there was this one study by Dr. Biasiotto at the University of Chicago, and they found that just visualizing yourself doing bicep curls, it actually increased muscle strength.
Just from visualizing it.
Yeah. Yep. It's like a mental rehearsal, basically. And it can have a real impact on how we perform, both physically and mentally.
So it's not just like wishful thinking. Our brains don't really know the difference between a really vivid imagination and like real life.
Exactly. And when we visualize the outcome we want over and over, we're kind of training our minds to believe it's possible. And that can make us more motivated, more likely to actually take action.
So it's not just woo-woo. There's real science behind it. That's really cool. What else does the guide talk about?
Okay, this next one, I think you'll like this.
Okay.
It talks about expressing gratitude, but not just feeling grateful, actually telling people how much we appreciate them.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and it might seem like a small thing, but research in positive psychology has shown that expressing gratitude can have a huge impact on our well-being.
So it's not just good manners. It's actually good for us.
Exactly. Studies have shown that expressing gratitude can increase happiness, improve relationships, even boost your immune system.
Wow. Okay, I'm definitely on board with the gratitude thing. What else? Oh, this is where I got really curious. The guide mentions joining a new moon circle.
Yeah, new moon circle.
I have to admit, I have this image in my head of like robes and chanting.
Ah.
But I'm really curious. Have you ever been to one? What are they actually like?
Well, some circles might have those elements, robes and chanting, but the core idea is really about community support. And there's actually a lot of evidence that shows that having a strong support system, it can really help us achieve our goals.
So it's like having accountability partners for working out or like study groups.
Exactly. It's about finding that sense of community, whether it's with friends, family, even an online group. Having people who support your growth, who hold you accountable, it can make a huge difference.
That makes a lot of sense. So even if you don't join a formal circle, the idea is to find that support, that community.
Yeah, exactly. Find your people, you know.
That's great advice. Okay, so we've covered what? Journaling, decluttering, visualization, gratitude, and now new moon circles. What else does this guide get into?
Well, it actually gets into some pretty interesting stuff about, it's really interesting, how the guide emphasizes this idea of the new moon as a time for like cleansing
Yeah.
and purging.
Yeah.
Not just setting intentions, but like getting rid of the old stuff to make space for the new.
Yeah, like a spring cleaning for your soul.
Exactly.
And to take it literally too, right? With the decluttering and all.
Yeah, it really reinforces that idea that like our actions, our external actions, they affect our inner world. Like when you get rid of physical clutter, it can actually help you feel like mentally clearer.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's almost like you're like literally paving the way for new energy to come in and all those possibilities you want to bring into your life.
I like that. It makes a lot of sense. They even talk about things like smudging and sound healing as ways to like clear energy. I'm not super familiar with those, to be honest.
Yeah, so those practices, they kind of fall into this category of what people call energy work.
Okay.
And different cultures have different traditions, but they're all about creating this like fresh, cleansed vibe. It does raise an interesting question though, doesn't it?
What's that?
Like how much of this is about like concrete change
Mm.
versus symbolic action? Like
Sure.
if you clean out your closet, does that really change your mindset? Or is it more about the ritual itself?
That is a good question. I'm wondering if the guide does it kind of say which one it is?
Well, it seems to say that both are important.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
like taking action, whether it's physical or symbolic, it's kind of like a signal to yourself. Like you're saying, okay, I'm ready for this fresh start.
Mm.
But the guide also puts a lot of emphasis on introspection. Remember all those like deep journaling prompts?
Oh yeah, ones that get into your fears and stuff.
Yeah.
And what was it? Limiting beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're using the new moon darkness to kind of hold up a mirror to yourself, facing those shadows so you can move forward with more intention, more clarity.
I like that. I like that imagery a lot. And I guess it goes back to that whole blank canvas idea, right?
Uh-huh.
Like before you can create something new, you gotta clear the canvas.
Exactly. And speaking of creating, the guide also talks about like establishing new habits during the new moon.
Oh, interesting.
It's like using that fresh start energy to kind of set yourself up for success in areas where you want to grow.
So it's not just about making like huge changes,
Yeah.
but also like incorporating little positive habits.
Yeah, and that's what makes it more doable, right? Like the guide, it says to start small and be consistent. Those small wins, they keep you motivated, keep you moving in the right direction.
Yeah. It's like you
Sure.
build momentum, like one good habit at a time.
Precisely. And to help with that, they bring back the visualization thing. This time, it's about creating a super vivid picture in your mind of the outcome you want. Like almost like you're experiencing it right now in this moment.
Wow.
It's powerful stuff.
That's really powerful. I've heard about like athletes using that kind of thing, but I never thought about it like with new moon rituals.
It's all about harnessing the energy of the new moon to amplify those effects of the visualization. And again, like there's actual neuroscience behind this.
Oh, right.
When you visualize something vividly, your brain, it starts firing the same pathways as if you were actually experiencing it. So it's literally priming your body to take action.
It's like that study with the bicep curls we talked about.
Exactly.
Just imagining it made a difference. That's so wild. So visualization for habits. What else?
Okay, so then they suggest using affirmations.
Affirmations, okay.
It's about like choosing the story you want to believe about yourself and your capabilities.
Oh, so it's like rewriting those negative thoughts we all have sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And the new moon, it's seen as like the perfect time to set those intentions, those affirmations, like you're infusing them with that fresh start energy.
Okay, that's cool. It's interesting how they like balance this intense focus on, looking inward with the importance of community, like with the new moon circles.
Right. And that's such a key part of it, recognizing that we don't have to do this alone. Finding your tribe, your people, like a support system, people who cheer you on and hold you accountable. That's so valuable.
It sounds kind of like a modern take on those ancient gatherings,
Mhm.
where people would come together under the new moon to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. And tapping into that collective energy, it can really amplify the power of your own intentions.
And even if you don't join an official circle, the guide also talks about like finding mentors
Hmm.
or guides, people who can share their wisdom,
Mentorship is huge. It's like learning from people who've already walked a similar path, getting insights that you might not have thought of on your own.
Yeah, it's like having a cheerleader and a wise advisor all in one.
That's a great way to put it. And finally, the guide brings it all back to nature. It really emphasizes honoring the cycles of nature and understanding that, we're like the moon in a way. We go through these phases of growth, expansion, rest, reflection.
It's a good reminder to be patient with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
To like go with the flow.
And to use those natural cycles to our advantage,
Yeah.
to harness that energy and align ourselves with like the rhythms of the universe.
It's not just like woo-woo stuff then.
Nope.
This guide is like, it's full of practical stuff, but it's also grounded in, psychology, ancient wisdom, and this really beautiful connection to nature.
Exactly. It's a reminder that we have all these powerful tools and rituals at our disposal to create a life that's more intentional, more fulfilling.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
Journaling, decluttering, visualization, gratitude, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
This guide is like seriously packed with good advice.
It is.
But, the big question is, how do we actually like use this stuff in our lives?
Right.
It's one thing to read about rituals, but it's got to be like practical,
Exactly. It's got to feel real. It's got to feel like beneficial. You know what I mean?
Totally. Like, I think it's easy to get caught up in all the woo-woo stuff and forget that these rituals are supposed to be tools, right?
Right, exactly.
Right.
It's not about magic. It's about having a structure, like a framework for how to get in sync with those natural rhythms and how to tap into like that new beginning energy.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, there's a lot of evidence for a lot of this, like in psychology, even neuroscience.
It's like the new moon. It's like a symbolic fresh start.
Yeah.
And these rituals are a way to actually make that happen.
And it's not about like following the lunar calendar perfectly or doing every single ritual.
Right.
It's more about like using these natural cycles as reminders to like pause, reflect, and make choices that set us up for success.
So even if someone's not sure about all this, it's okay to just try it out.
I think so.
Like, see what it feels like.
It could be fun, like an experiment,
Yeah.
You might be surprised by what you learn about yourself or the changes you see in your life.
This whole conversation, it's really got me thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the new moon is about aligning with natural cycles, well, what other cycles are there? In our lives, I mean.
Oh, that's a good question.
Could be anything, right?
Totally. Think about like the seasons or like a new year, a new job, a new school year even. Heck, even a new week. Like all of those can be opportunities to reset.
It's about recognizing those moments, those transitions,
Yeah.
and using them as a chance to like look back, set new goals, take action.
It's about finding the rhythms that work for you and using them to create a life that feels meaningful, that feels like good.
So we can find new beginnings all around us.
Yeah.
If we're like open to them.
I think so. And maybe if we tap into those natural cycles, maybe we can find a little bit of that new moon magic in all parts of our lives.
I love that. That's really beautiful. It's like we all have the power to make positive change. Not just at the new moon, but all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
It's about embracing those moments of possibility and using them to like grow, transform.
Well, this has been awesome. I've learned so much about new moon rituals, and I really appreciate you sharing all your insights.
My pleasure.
I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of this.
I hope so.
A whole new perspective on the power of the new moon and beyond.